we've asked the question, but
Yeah, well, I've asked as
yeah,
well. And
yeah.
Okay. Right.
So the farm aren't willing to speak to the BBC at all. Just want to clarify that. I just want to get that on video. The
Yeah, that's right,
farm
yeah,
are refusing
yeah,
to speak to the BBC about their apparently high welfare Morrisons red tractor farm.
Okay.
Okay.
See if they've changed their mind.
All right.
No worries. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Just tell us again. I've spoke to one of the people before about this, but just tell us about why you're here today and the strength of feeling.
Okay, so initially an investigation was done here over the course of between April and June, where we found a number of different welfare breaches, pigs with prolapses, pigs with, in unhygienic conditions, cockroach infestation. It was really, really bad. We then managed to work out that this farm is actually a supplier to Morrisons and also Red Tractor approved. So when obviously people found out about this, they wanted to do something to highlight this, and this is why the action, which is called Meet the Victims, is happening today, where a group of activists have gone inside to basically show the public what the industry aren't showing us and expose the truth.
Just tell us how these activists got inside today.
So the activists got inside, basically through a back path. Obviously, what they're doing, is illegal. Obviously, when you go onto property, you are breaking a trespass is civil offence. But once you refuse to leave, it is a aggravated trespass. But we feel the bigger crime here is what's actually happening to the animals. I mean, there's a difference between a few people going onto a property and people actively exploiting and killing other living beings. And I think people need to make that distinction of who the real victims are, and which is quite clearly the animals.
In terms of the animals' condition, is anybody here a qualified vet that could properly assess the animal's condition?
No one actually on site is, but we do have people in our circles that are veterinary nurses that have this experience, obviously, from just dealing with investigation over the years. You do kind of get to learn. I mean, a prolapse isn't a difficult thing to spot, and you can quite easily tell when an animal is in pain and suffering. And I think anyone could agree that saw the footage that if there was dogs in a facility like this, you'd have a lot more people than there are now. You'd probably have most of Blackpool turning out for it.
The farm say animal welfare is their top priority. They told us that over the phone. They're adamant about that, and they say no one's ever said otherwise to them in this situation. What do you say to that?
Well, first off, I'd ask why they're not letting you into film if they've got nothing to hide. If they're a Red Tractor and a Morrisons farm, which is meant to be the highest standards, why won't they let the media in just to see what they think is a simple, humane pig farm? Because the truth of the matter is humane is an oxymoron. Humane means to show benevolence and compassion. And you can't exploit and kill another living being with benevolence and compassion. So the reason they might say that they've got these high welfare things, but obviously it's just to cover their backs. It's a lie.
The farm says it's now seeking an injunction to get the activists out because it says an animal, a pig, has been injured because some of the animals are frightened by the presence of these people that have come in. What do you say to that?
First thing I would do is say provide evidence. You've got an entire shed there full of people where animal welfare is their number one priority. There's not one person in there that wants to see an animal suffer, and if anything happened, they would be the first people to alert people to that. As well as saying, we're causing the animals to suffer. I mean, it's worth mentioning that all these animals are going to be put in a gas chamber at the end of their lives. They're living in squalor. They're suffering. Who's causing the more damage here? Is it the friendly activists who are coming in who want to look after the animals and actually expose the cruelty going on? Or is it the farms that are actually sending these animals to their deaths and exploiting them for a product that we basically don't need? We don't need animal products. It's been proven by all the major dietetic and nutrition organisations. So what they're doing is completely unnecessary and it's harmful.
I'll take your point. Some people want to eat meat, other people don't want to eat meat.
Of course.
I guess from your point of view, it's a balancing act. You don't want to say to people, you can do this, you can't do that, or you don't want to come across as saying that, I guess.
Well, I think the thing is you can't, going back to what we said before, you can't exploit and kill another living being nicely. And if you're going to do it, you need to have a good justification. And when it's been shown that biologically we don't even need animal products in our diet, and we have such a wide array of other alternative foods available to us in all the supermarkets, why are we still continuing to support an industry which harms animals for something we don't need?
But people want to eat meat. Some people do.
I know, but just because you want to do something, does that therefore make it ethical? You know, I would say no. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that want to do a lot of harmful things, but just because they want to, we wouldn't say that's okay.
But is trespassing on someone else's land ethical?
You know, we are breaking the law. But then again, if you look at what's happening inside these places, that's classed as legal. Legality doesn't necessarily equal morality. Just because something is legal, it doesn't necessarily mean it's okay. And I don't think there's a problem in good people going to expose harm of somewhere, even if it means you're breaking law. If you look back through history, civil disobedience has been a huge part of social justice movements over the years. Without civil disobedience, you know, we maybe wouldn't have got, you know, things like you know, the suffragettes and women's rights, or you know, the rights for people of colour and all that kind of stuff. Animal rights is the, you know, the new justice issue of today, and I think civil disobedience will play a part of that, because, you know, injustice can't live forever, and if we need to break a few laws to expose it, then we will.
Okay, but there's no qualified vets among you. You said that inside.
No.
What if a qualified vet who's in there at the moment comes out and says none of these animals have been harmed in any way, they're being looked after perfectly well?
I would question what his definition of harm is, for a start. I mean, can you really see a pig with a huge prolapse coming out of it and say, that pig's fine?
Could be an individual infection.
It could be an individual infection, but why are they getting the infection? Why has there been so many? If we look through the investigation over a period of months, there was a number of these animals. This wasn't a one-off. And also there have been other animals today that they've gone in and seen. And we see this all the time. In any, you know, pig farm or any farm generally, you go in, you'll always find casualties and animals suffering. It's just an unavoidable part of the industry. And I think for them to try and fob it off and say all our animals are kept nicely and all this kind of stuff, it's just not true. They're just lying to the public, and the people need to know.
As a final point, what's the plan from here on in?
So the plan from here is, obviously, the activists inside, what they want to do is tell the story of these animals inside. They want to show the public exactly what is happening in these places and encourage them to not support these industries. And what, you know, the way they want to do that is to gather media coverage, exactly like when we're talking to you now. We want as much media coverage because you guys have got the reach. We can reach the people, you know, you can reach the numbers. And as soon as they are happy that we've got a good amount of media coverage, they will peacefully leave. They're not, you know, this is a peaceful process. They're not looking to.
So it could be tonight.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we, you know, I mean, put it this way: do you think all these people want to be sat in there? Do you think they want to be sat in there with the smells and the fear on the animals and the excrement and everything? They don't. They're doing it to prove a point.
The farm are seeking an injunction to get the
Of course.
activists out.
I mean, you know, and I can understand that as well. I know, as far as the farmers are concerned, obviously a load of random people have just come on their property, and I can understand why that would be concerning to them. And, you know, I do sympathise with them as well. I mean, in the end, this has probably been a family business that they've had for years. As far as they're concerned, this is completely normal, natural, it's necessary, what they're doing. So I don't blame them as individuals. Our battle isn't so much against the farmers, it's a battle against the system and the system that they've been brought up into. So yeah, again, activists has trespassed, but we're looking at the bigger picture here. We're looking to stop systematic animal abuse. And I think that is way more important than just a few people walking onto someone's land.